Good day, everyone. Today I am in Uido, so skyscrapers and suits and ties. But apparently there's more to it than that. You know, people tell me there's a lot of culture here. So I'm here to explore myself. I've never been to this neighborhood, first time here. It's a little bit far from where I stay, so yeah, I'm not coming over here too often, but decided to start the video near this IFC mall. It's quite a landmark and pretty cool building as well. Looks like they have some big brands in there: Coach, Chanel, COS, Dyson, Usinsa, Zara, all the good ones. But I think instead of just going in the mall, I think we should explore a little bit of the neighborhood first, kind of get a feel for, the buildings, the streets, you know, the people walking around. I'm curious. So far, it's not only people wearing suits, it's not like strictly that kind of vibe, but it's at least 50%, you know, a little bit of tourists as well. I can get that feeling. Yeah, we're just gonna walk around and see what we find. You know, I have no real plan today. Apparently there's also the nicest, or one of the nicest Han River parks. So there's many, many Han River parks here in Seoul. You know, I'm gonna walk that way actually because Han River Park is this way. So let's head toward that first, kind of get a feeling for the streets and we'll check out the waterfront. I always like being by the water. It's outrageously hot today. Another nice July summer day in Seoul. I'm just happy it's not raining. You know, I will take the heat. I don't mind the intense sun if that means it's not gonna rain. It's also nice if it rains sometimes because you get cooler weather, but then I can't film a video. You know, if I wasn't a YouTuber, I think I wouldn't really mind a bit of rain here and there, you know, every day, every other day. But it makes my job difficult. One thing I do notice, a lot of construction going on here. If you notice, that entire building right there is like in construction, renovation. You got construction here. So a little bit of, I'm not gonna say up and coming because it's already very, very developed, but you know, maybe just in constant renovation and improvements. This seems to be the case in a lot of areas in Seoul. You know, I mean, even where I live, like a lot of construction around me. I think you just kind of have to accept that Seoul is rapidly developing and growing. And so you have to kind of deal with a bit of construction noise. It's just, you know, it's just how it goes. It's still more quiet than New York here. It's still a lot less intense and busy than home back in New York City. So yeah, no stoplight here, no red light. So we're just gonna kind of cross. Let's see what's over here. I see a big Hyundai building. You know, Hyundai is like a very famous brand here. And there's a lot of like, there's a big Hyundai like department store in Gangnam that I've been to, which is like kind of fancy. And then you just see Hyundai as like a major player, a major brand here. I don't actually know the source. You know, I don't know where it stems from necessarily. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. We have the Yulchon. Good old coffee bean as well. A lot of coffee beans. Oh, then you have almost fell. The Hyundai car dealership. That's the Hyundai that I know, is cars. Because we have that in America. We have many Hyundais. I believe my mom had one when I was young. Oh, Boss Burger, beer, burger, French fries, hot dog, onion ring. All right, I have seen a lot of food. You know, before I started the video, I just kind of walked from the station I came to start the video near that mall. I saw quite a bit of food. Cool statue here. Okay, yeah, a lot of office buildings. You know, I take it that these are a lot of office-y type situations. But yeah, people tell me there's a lot of interesting culture here and it's a beautiful area. It is beautiful, it's nice. I mean, I am smack dab right into the middle right now, surrounded by buildings. So we don't really get as much of a breeze, but it's nice. I mean, nice architecture and nice streets. It's not overly busy. I mean, it's 2:30 p.m. on a Thursday. Got a lot of bikes here for rent. Almost like too many bikes for rent. Makes me believe that a lot of these office workers are biking to their job, and then maybe biking home. Not too sure about that. That's interesting to me. Let's head this way. Yeah, I'm gonna head this way. I'm just gonna head toward the Han River Park first. I know I sounded like I knew where I was going, but I was kind of just pretending. I was going in the wrong direction, folks. These buildings are very cool. It looks like we actually have residencies up there. Those could be residencies as well, but honestly, probably offices. Yeah, I was going in the wrong direction for quite a while there, so I had to backtrack about 10 minutes of walking. It's okay, folks. So we're gonna go this way and make a left, and then we can get to the Han River Park. That's all right. I mean, exploring the area anyways. A lot of buildings, folks. A lot of buildings here. That's mainly what I'm seeing right now. I'm not even really seeing like shops. Not even seeing too many restaurants. Okay. Have a little garden. Interesting. I wouldn't expect that. Just a nice little garden and like a bench to chill out. It's not bad. Is this a pool? No. Folks, we have a pool in here. What is that? Maybe this is like a, I don't know, like a kid center or like a recreation center or something. I'm not sure why there would be a random like little pool at this place. I couldn't tell you. Not sure. I am learning Korean, but I'm not there yet, so not too sure. No smoking. Thankfully, I don't smoke. Non-smoker, non-drinker, such a good boy, wholesome guy. Okay, so we have some nice tree-lined streets here. Yeah, so I mean, a very photogenic area, a nice area to walk around. It's starting to get a little bit more breezy as well because we're getting closer to the water. No, I mean, yeah, anytime there's not too many buildings or we get to like an intersection, it kind of gets a bit breezy and it starts to feel good. Cool. Yeah, this is definitely like an older apartment building here. I do wonder what the prices are. I mean, this is definitely not a cheap area. It's not cheap, folks. It's not cheap. Doesn't matter if it's an older building or not. Actually, a lot of the older buildings, like some of the most expensive buildings in Seoul, you know, in Gangnam and like Apgujeong and those surrounding neighborhoods over there, those very luxury areas, yeah, they have these like extremely old buildings that are just like prestigious, that are, you know, worth a ton of money, very expensive. You know, to my knowledge, they are going to be renovated, and part of the value is in the fact that they will be renovated in the next couple of years or the next decade. I don't think they know exactly when, but when I made a video in that neighborhood, I was talking about it. I was like, why are these buildings so expensive if they're like run down and old? And people said that's because they are like, yeah, prestigious and they are going to be renovated, and you know, it's for the neighborhood, right? So yeah, let's make this left here. Yeah, streets aren't too busy. There's people around. I will say there's people around. Maybe it's busier than where I stay. Maybe it's busier like than Itaewon on a weekday afternoon, which can be like a ghost town, but not like super busy. I bet if we came like, I don't know, lunch hour, if we came like after work time, we would see it very bustling. You know, right here, there's also like a bunch of bikes, just like a ton of bikes. So I think that's a common thing, you know, more bikes here to rent. More buildings in the distance. And then, yeah, we have like more of these huge blocks, these big old school apartment buildings here. So yeah, there are places to live here. I guess if you work over here and you make some decent money, you know, you want to have convenience, you want to live near your work. I mean, you just live in the neighborhood, right? It just makes sense. I mean, to me, there's not so much yet that I see, right? I haven't been over here long enough. I'm sure there's plenty of restaurants and shops in certain parts of the neighborhood. I mean, there was the IFC mall, right? I didn't even go into the mall. So I'm sure that's all the shops you really need. I'm sure there's a food court in there. So yeah, even if you live like right here, you're quite close to the IFC mall. You're quite close probably to your work. And you're also very close to the waterfront, to the, you know, the river park. So yeah, a lot of benefits to that. Ueda High School is up this way. So, you know, another plus, if you do have a family, you're raising kids, probably have some schools very close by. Okay, so we have a little complex right here with some stuff. Ayurveda Wellness Studio, Brot Art, Bread Cafe. Oh, bread and cake. I knew that was German because Brot is bread in German. Learned that one while living in Germany. One of the only German words that I can remember and I actually learned. Yeah, see it, look. Many shops here. So it's not completely vacant. It's not completely desolate when it comes to shops and, you know, maybe going to, I don't know, get your hair cut, go to the dentist, you know, grab something from the bakery. There is places. Yeah, everything you need in the neighborhood. That's good. Okay, here's a restaurant. Definitely a very clean area. Tree lined, so extremely nice, extremely nice. Okay, so this looks like a grocery store here. GS The Fresh. Yeah, maybe a little grocery store. That's necessary. You know, I cook all my meals. One of the most important things for me when I'm choosing where to live or just like something that's important to me is, yeah, having a supermarket, a grocery store, some type of market to buy fresh meat. Very important, very important. Or at least be able to get it delivered easily. You know, a lot of people here use Coupang. Everyone uses Coupang, and people even deliver their meats and things like that. But I prefer to get it in the store if I can. You know, I don't want to take any risks with the heat and leaving meat unattended. You know, they tend to put it on ice. They deliver stuff on ice, but the ice melts. And, you know, most of the time I receive my item, the ice has been melted. I don't know how long it's been melted. You don't know how long the meat has been outside in the hot temperature. And I know that sometimes in Asian countries and just other countries, they tend to not think so much or not worry as much about like bacteria on meat. Now, I'm not saying Korea does that. You know, I know for a fact that in Thailand and Malaysia, where I spend a lot of time, they definitely are a lot less concerned about leaving meat out in the hot temperature. But in the US, you know, just the way I was taught, the way my parents taught me is like, you know, do not leave meat in a hot temperature for more than an hour, you know, 2 hours at room temperature. And room temperature is not, you know, 35 degrees Celsius, you know, 90 something degrees Fahrenheit. So I am a little bit cautious. My stomach is a little bit sensitive, and that's the main reason I worry about it. I think a lot of people don't need to worry as much. You know, they can get away with leaving pork at room temperature for 5 hours, 6, 7, 8 hours, and eating it with no stomach problems, but I'm not lucky like that. So I have to kind of worry about it. As much as I hate being that guy, I hate being that, you know, that American guy, I kind of have to. I have to. Anyways, what is this? That looks like a school, folks. That looks like a school. First, I thought it was a firehouse, but no, definitely not. And over here, yeah, another block, another apartment block. Okay, so plenty of residencies right near the water. You can see we're kind of approaching the water here a bit. Got a basketball court across the street. I believe that is also a school. Maybe that's the high school, potentially. You know, it would really help if I learned Korean. I received some messages and, you know, emails, comments about, you know, some resources of where I can learn Korean. So I talked about maybe taking like classes and getting a student visa and also learning Korean at the same time. Thing is, it's very expensive, you know, to actually take like a proper, you know, enroll in a proper class in a school here. It's a lot of money. It's like a few $1,000s per semester. So if I want to get a student visa, it's going to cost me some serious cash. But there is some free resources for me to learn Korean. Sejong University, they do free online courses and some in-person stuff as well if you want. So I'm gonna start there, and some apps people sent me, some YouTube channels. So I really appreciate that. I will definitely follow through with that. I already did start learning a little bit of the alphabet. A little bit. I need to dedicate myself at least, let's say, an hour a day, something like that. Put time aside, yeah, 1 or 2 hours a day, and commit to it. Okay, let's cross while this is green. because we have a crosswalk here. We know we can get to the waterfront. I'm excited. I have a few people who told me that this is their favorite, like their favorite river park. And yeah, I've been to many at this point. Some of them are better than others. You know, some of them it's like there's nothing going on. Other ones, it's like there's restaurants, there's like beautiful gardens, there's like workout equipment. This one already looks quite lush, looks quite nice. Let's see, do we have to press a button here? No, no. So we just wait, let's wait for the red light. I'll see you across the street. Look at this little guy while we're waiting, just a straight up crow. He's gonna inch toward him, let's see, he's gonna hop away any second. Woo, he's gone. I mean, you don't want to mess with a crow anyways. Still red light, beautiful. Just some proof that I'm not jaywalking here, guys. Just some good old-fashioned proof. Okay, this is nice. Already lined with flowers. Okay, it's like a grand entrance to this place. Wow. Everything extremely well manicured, really well cut grass. Something I observe everywhere in Seoul. We got cicadas. Beautiful. We got a very nice breeze out here, which is much, much needed and very welcome on a hot day like this. Whew, that would be nice. Riding a bike, you'd really catch a breeze. I'm trying to see what this is here, this. So it's like two people. That's pretty cool. Wow, nice. I like that. My hair is probably a disaster today. You know, you guys know I like to wear a hat. I like to wear a hat because it gets windy. You know, we start getting near the waterfront, we get, you know, we're in the intersections near the buildings. It's a bit breezy. You know, the hair tends to go a little bit nuts, but we're gonna forget about it. You can enjoy the crazy hair day, right? Okay, so we got bike lanes here. I assume this is more for walking. And you can see it's not too busy. Like some of the parks like this, there's so many bikes coming in and out. And like you really have to be cautious, you know, you could easily get hit if you're not paying attention, if you're filming and you're not really paying too much attention. All right, the sun is there. Best lighting is for me to walk backwards, but that's not really feasible. I mean, it's empty, so we could, but I mean, I feel stupid. But the best lighting is always to have it facing, you know, sun that way. Playground here for the kids. Yeah, very empty. I mean, 2:30, 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, or rather it's Thursday today. Sorry, folks. It's Thursday. You know, people have work, people have things to do. And since this is like a business district, a tech district, you know, I'd assume there are less families and more, yeah, young working people, semi-young working people. And so you're not going to see too many families out here like in the daytime. You know, it makes a lot of sense, right? Oh, cool. Oh, this is something we got to check out. This little swing here. Always got a fresh water in my back pocket, by the way. A lot of you say, make sure you stay hydrated. You know, you never have water. You're never drinking water. Believe me, anytime I cut the camera, whenever you see a cut and I continue in a different area or 10 seconds later, you better believe that I wipe the sweat off of my face and drink a little bit of water. Just like that, folks. Just drank some water and you would never even know. You would never know. It's our little secret. It's actually quite nice. With the sand and the wood, it's quite new. Wow, not like the playgrounds back home. This is not like the playgrounds we have back in Philadelphia, back in New York City. You would not get this. This is not, it's not possible. So yeah, nice to see, nice to see. I like that. And then as you see, there's like some boats on the water. There's a convenience store. Nice to see you. Maybe some restaurants, you know, maybe some barbecue or something they tend to have. Yeah, we're good for now. Yeah, island cruise. Maybe they have some like tour boats that you can take to go out, because I see a bunch of boats over there. It's nice out here. It's quiet. You know, I bet in the evening it gets a little bit lively. I bet it's quite a vibe in the evening over here. We'll have to come back in the evening at some point for sure. It does say ticket office. So, you know, maybe there are some events over here, like music or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Which way should we go, folks? Hmm. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's something we do. That's a real American thing. So it says Green Carpet Terrace, #1. I don't really know what they mean by that. Okay, so obviously no swimming, no fishing. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine so. Definitely wouldn't be jumping in that water anyways. You know, it just doesn't feel like something I should do. So, yeah, check out these trees. I mean, look at this. This is absolutely beautiful. Okay, now I know why people were telling me this is, you know, one of their favorite, or maybe their favorite Han River Park, because this is much nicer than most of them. Maybe the nicest one I've been to, the most lush, you know, the most green, tree-lined, kind of biggest as well, very wide, a lot of spaces to hang out and sit. You know, like I said, some of them are just very, very simple, and it's just a waterfront with some dirt, you know, a bike path, essentially. But this is like, I mean, look at this. Skyline in the distance? Are you kidding me, folks? This is nice. No drone zone. So, no flying the drones, kids. I mean, I thought about getting a drone, but as you guys know, I do some fairly raw videos. I don't really do too much heavy editing. I don't do too much B-roll footage. You know, I've experimented with it before, and I find that people really like the raw stuff. They like it, just keep it straightforward, not too much editing. I think that in the past, people liked some very polished, highly edited videos. I'm talking like 2, 3, 4, 5+ years ago on YouTube. That was much more in. That was what people wanted. Now it seems like the raw, you know, rather unedited stuff, you know, of course I still edit, and it does take time to edit, but like it's a little bit different of a type of video. That's the type of video I'm drawn to. These are the type of vlogs that I watch. So yeah, those are the type of vlogs that I should make too, right? I don't watch Mr. Beast videos, you know, biggest YouTuber, you know, #1 YouTuber, millions of subscribers, but his videos are like the most highly polished type of content you can have. And it's just not really my style. I think a lot of the younger kids, a lot of younger demographic, especially Gen Z, that's what they're into, right? And, you know, my audience is not that. I say 50% of my audience is above the age of 40. And like very few of people under the age of 24. So I have a lot of people in between 24 and 40. And then like at the same time, we have a lot of, you know, slightly older, you know, 40, 50. We have 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds watching my videos. That's fantastic. You know, I'm 33 years old. If I can attract a wide range of ages like that, I think that's cool. Now, it's kind of interesting that there's pretty much no 18, 19, 20-year-olds watching my videos, like little to none, you know, so maybe I'm not really connecting with the younger generation too well, but yeah, again, I think that's because the type of editing, it's a bit more slow paced, right? It's not very in your face. It's not meant to like, it is meant to grab your attention, but it's not meant to just like, I don't know, pull you in and bait you in and just keep you with a lot of editing. So we would have a lot of bikes here, but it looks like they're taken. Maybe all these bikes have been taken like over there where we saw like 1 million bikes. I don't see why they would be. Oh no, maybe this is to lock up your own bike. Okay, that would make sense. Maybe this is just to ride your own bike down here and lock it up. Because obviously somebody didn't take all these bikes. That would be ridiculous. It wouldn't make any sense. Okay, we have another nice to see you. It says barbecue. What is this? Looks a bit like jewels. Like, what is this? Like a jewel style, almost like an anvil? You guys know what I mean? Like an anvil. I'm not sure. definitely broken in some parts. But what is that? Just a sculpture, I suppose. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but yeah. And then we have a bunch of like golf carts. Okay. Let's see some history here. Isabella Bird Bishop began her journey on the Hangan River. Okay, so she's an English explorer. Visited Korea in 1894. Nice. Thanks to the thriving local market, diverse kinds of delicacies were developed in the Mapo area. Okay, so Mapo, I actually stopped at Mapo just before this. It's one stop away. And then Stingy Mr. O shared his salt. Okay, so the people in the Mapo area were famous for their frugal lifestyle. Interesting. Uh-oh, the camera is on 10%, folks. 10% battery. There's not much left. All right, we're gonna have to keep this fairly quick. So, let's pop back over to the main area, check out a little bit more of Uido, and yeah, that's it. I'm gonna preserve the battery right now. Yeah, we got some nice bakeries over there, some shops in Korean, not sure what they are. And then, yeah, some more apartments. Let's continue onward. This is pretty cool. We have the Fairmont Hotel right there, quite a nice hotel. And some cool little, just so many statues here. Oh, we got the Bottega Veneta store. Great brand. I'm heading to the park. There's the Uido Park, I almost forgot. So that'll be a very important stop here. So once again, let's save the camera battery for the park. All right, so the park is literally over there across this big double street here. Okay, finally there's a walk path up there. So I've been walking along this road for quite a bit. One thing, it is a bit challenging to cross the streets over here. You really have to walk a bit sometimes to find a crosswalk. But okay, good to see. There's a crosswalk right over here to get to the park. Had to stop to check out this sculpture. That one's probably the coolest one I've seen here. So right at the entry of the park, we got toilets and we have a coffee spot. Nice little cafe to sit outside. That's nice. So this is the Uido Park, not to be confused with the waterfront, the Han River Park that we were at before. This one is more smack dab, like in the center, around the buildings. Kind of near the, right next to the IFC Mall, kind of where we started. Nice. Okay, so it looks quite big. Mostly like a giant rectangle. A lot of flowers. Wow, this is beautiful. Extremely nice. Man, something that Seoul does really well, I will say, is parks. Like consistently. From the first day I arrived, I lived right near Namsan Park. And so like first day I went to Namsan Park and I saw workout equipment. I did a workout and yeah, I was just like, what is this place, I filmed my first impressions video there and like, yeah, you could see my reaction was very genuine and was very shocked of like, what? I'm not used to parks like this, I'm not used to things being this clean and nice. So yeah, very different than my past experiences in some other places. Yeah, like I said, especially back home. I mean, New York City suffers a very different problem, which is, homelessness and crime, and they can't really keep things this pristine. They can't keep things like this. In Seoul, everyone is quite respectful, and of course there is problems. Maybe there are some homeless people. There is problems in the country. I'm not saying it's a perfect world, but yeah, everyone is quite respectful. People aren't ruining the park, and people are actively cleaning it. People are keeping it tidy. Yeah, and the citizens here, people here, are just different. What can I say? And I like it. Something cool over there. Again, we hear the lovely cicadas all around us here. Man, so nice. All right, so maybe this area is a decent place to live. I mean, you have, yeah, like I said, everything you need. I mean, I love walking, and so having a park nearby, kind of crucial, kind of essential. I mean, Seoul is extremely walkable, so you can just kind of walk on the sidewalks. It's not really an issue. Where is that sound coming from? What is that? Oh, from the speaker. So confused. I'm like, somebody is on a microphone and the speaker. Again, don't know what they're saying. Don't speak Korean, right? So it would have helped me a lot. You know, I probably would know what's going on right away. Little bit of garden. Okay. Some benches. Little gazebo, as I would call it. Some stone. Some carvings. Father and me. Okay, this garden was inspired by family. All right, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, so there is more to this neighborhood than meets the eye. There's more to this neighborhood than, you know, I originally saw. You know, there's plenty of shops, there's plenty of cafes, there's plenty of things, you know. Maybe I was a little too quick to say that. Of course, by the waterfront, there's going to be a little bit less shops, things like that. To me, that looks like a bank, right? That looks very bank-like. Nice. Very, very nice old school architecture too. What's that say? Ulmus, Parvifolia, Jacques. Wow, okay, so that's clearly the type of plant, the species of tree or plant. It looks like there's a building right there too. Maybe a little restaurant or another coffee shop. Huh. Okay. Wow, I am sweating. It is hot, folks. It's hot. Glad I have that water bottle in my pocket. Ooh. Oh, the giant balloon in the sky. What is that? Something you don't see every day. I think it says I love Seoul on it. Huh. Okay. Wow, it's like attached to this thing at the bottom. What is that? Okay, so it says Soul My Soul. Soul My Soul. I've seen that before. I've seen that motto, that phrase before, Soul My Soul. I don't know. I don't know, folks. I don't know. Beautiful. Yeah, just gonna stroll through this park. I think this is we're on 6% battery now. Not bad, not bad. Don't don't get too mad at me, folks. I think we got enough time anyways on this video. You know, I tend to shoot for about 40 minutes. You know, I like a 40-minute vlog. I like a 30 to 60-minute vlog if I can. I think that a lot of my audience likes the longer videos. You know, YouTube likes to push the longer videos out to more people because they can show more ads, and yeah, for YouTube it's actually better if the videos are longer. They can show people more advertisements, and so yeah, they prioritize longer videos, and they prioritize showing my audience and showing new people a longer video. Like if I were to make a 8-minute video, YouTube would not show as many people because yeah, it's just less time watched. You know, maybe people watch that video for 6 minutes, but people will watch my 40-minute video for 20 minutes. And so to YouTube, that's a lot more valuable. Huh. So this just switched to like airplane runway. What? Okay. Interesting. Always a surprise around the corner in Seoul. We got a nice flag here, Korean flag. Whoa. Folks, what is that? It's in Korean. Whoop, whoop. Uido was the location for the first fighter wing in the Republic of Korea Air Force. Ah, that makes a lot of sense. The first fighter wing, jet or plane. Very cool. Wow. Nice. Soul my soul. Now you can really get a good look. Beautiful. Well, that was a fun day. Oh, folks, just wait a second. As I'm standing there talking about how hot it is, wow, and it just stopped. Okay, there's these like misting fans right here that just spray water. Wow, it just stopped just as I got over here. Wow, someone's playing a joke on me. There we go. Okay, just a couple seconds later. Can we get some of that water? Ooh, yeah. I need some of that mist. I need that mist. Wait. Okay. All right. There we go. That's all I wanted. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. Press the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Next, make sure you watch my video talking about why I love Korea after spending 3 months here. You can watch that video right here.